We are moments away from puck drop here this afternoon. Saturday matinee action, Coyotes and the Kings. Patrick O'Neill with Sean O'Donnell. With Regeer out, McBain is in, but this means heavy lifting for Drew Doughty.
Well, that is the only silver lining. You have a guy like Drew Doughty that is capable of doing that extra lifting, and he'll be counted on tonight, especially if it stays a close game. Look at him in north of 30 minutes.
All right, we'll be here after 1. In the meantime, we're going inside. Here's Jim Fox.
All right, Patrick, Sean, thanks very much. The Kings and the Coyotes matinee action, Staples Center. The Coyotes and the Kings, as the guys were talking about in the pregame show, they just have a little nastiness going right now. Devin Dubnyk, he's kind of taken over. Big body and goal, 6'5". You see his record, 4 games above 500 for a team that's been struggling, so he gets the call. Jonathan Quick is back in goal, 13-8-5 on the season. You see the numbers, goals against coming up a little bit, save percentage kind of leveling up right about there, but that's real good for Jonathan Quick. The officials for today's game, there's Paul Dvorsky, he's one of the referees. Greg Kimberly is the other guy with the orange armbands on the lines. Brad Lazarowicz, Mike Civic, Andrzej Kopitar starting at center for the Los Angeles Kings. New father, Martin Hansel, starting at center for the Phoenix Coyotes. Tonight's Fox Sports West faceoff is delivered by Shumash. And coming up right now with the play-by-play, Hall of Famer Bob Miller.
Thank you very much, Jim. As you mentioned, Martin Hansel, his wife gave birth to a baby girl yesterday. They wondered whether he was going to get here for this game and flew in this morning, and he is in the opening lineup. Kings win the draw and drive it into the zone. Right side, it goes to Carter. So the big line that had 12 points in the last game, they're out there now. Gaborik, Carter, and Kopitar. And we get a penalty right off the bat here. Is it going to be a holding? Yes, it is. And the Kings,
11 against 11. They'll get used to holding a baby pretty soon.
Phoenix penalty number 11.
He's taking a grab right there of Andrzej Kopitar. And Dave Tippett just kind of looks and kind of paces and goes back and forth. So an opportunity to get the start the Kings want. Dave's team talking about the struggles. He's talking about confidence with his group. Well, first forecheck, Kopitar gets position, and it's the free hand once and then twice. Yeah, you can see kind of ride right there. Then it actually ends up being kind of a bear hug. Not much, but enough for Kopitar to go down. He's trying to protect the puck. Kings first power play of the game.
they are tied for 17th in the NHL on the power play. The Coyote penalty killing, not good. 28th out of 30 teams. Let's see what the Kings do with this. Puck comes up ahead to center, and now a pass tipped away, but gathered back in again by Carter. Picked up now the King blue line. Here's Drew Doughty. Doughty over to Carter. Carter got stopped and the puck cleared back into the King zone.
The Kings got stopped the first time. Tried to regroup. Didn't necessarily build up a lot of speed that way. And Carter makes a change already.
Back up to center ice now. Here's Doughty. Drops it back to Kopitar. Over now to Muzzin. Muzzin slaps it around the board. Schlemko going for it down the corner. He got checked there, but he bounces off the check. Got it to the blue line and diving to hold it in with a great play. But it's taken away, and here's a breakaway down the middle. Jones shooting, or Moss shooting, and a save. Save made, and a big save there by Quick.
You had both Kings defensemen taking a chance.
Now the Kings right side shot up off the arm perhaps of the goaltender and wide. So David Moss had the great chance right there.
Looked like he tried to go tweeners against Jonathan Quick, and Quick was very patient. Didn't bite on anything, and just right there to make the save.
Kings have it again, still on the power play. Kings have allowed only 1 shorthanded goal this year while scoring 5, and they almost gave up 1 there on that breakaway.
And you have no one backing up the situation there for the Kings, and Doughty makes a sprawling save just to keep the puck in. The Coyotes were keeping alive, making it happen, and when you get into a situation where Doughty's going to try to make sure he keeps it alive, and he does so, you see with Muzzin, he's going forward and no one's going backwards, so you don't maintain control on the play. You keep it in, but no control. Big save. Talk about a big save early. Quick does the job.
Puck taken by the Coyotes now as they are trying to kill this penalty, and they got to do it for another 31 seconds. Puck driven back behind the King net. Picked up there by Jamie McBain. In the lineup now, as we told you, Robin Regeer out maybe 2 to 3 weeks with a hand injury. Puck comes down into the corner, and going for there is Brown. Back to the blue line, it goes to McBain. Jamie McBain with it. Feeds it off on the right side again, and a shot from there, and a save and a rebound up the middle, but the Kings couldn't get to it. And it's cleared by Moss back down into the King zone.
A lot of traffic in front with Dustin Brown. Not only Brown, but McCulloch was there for the Coyotes, and a double screen was set. The Kings end up with 2 shots. Nothing real dangerous right there, and the Coyotes kill the first penalty.
So the Coyotes back at full strength. We're scoreless here in the first. Puck comes out the middle. Shot from there, and a save and a rebound Richards threw it in front. Shot by Lewis, knocked down. Now a pass by McNabb, deflects to the blue line. Back over to McNabb. McNabb to the left point. He hangs onto it, walks the line, feeds it off on the right side. Gets it back, and McNabb shoots, and it's just wide to the right. Taken there now, down in the corners. The Kings keep the pressure on. Pearson had it. Puck comes back up to the blue line. Held in again by McNabb. Now back behind the net, out of the reach of Pearson. Over is Lewis to try and pick it up. Lewis does pick it up, but his pass going to be taken away. Can McNabb hold it in? Yes, he did. Pearson shoots, blocked, and cleared. Back up in the air and out to center ice.
Good five-man attack there by the Kings. McNabb was very active, walking the line, keeping it alive. But those forwards, the tenacity of Tanner Pearson just to jump on loose pucks, making it difficult on the Coyotes. They couldn't move the puck around.
Now Mike Richards trying to get control of it. Can't do it. Coyotes, Shane Doan sends it down deep and back behind the net where it's taken by Connor Murphy and then cleared back into the King zone. Steered away by Quick and taken by Muzzin for the pass. Intercepted by Vermette for a moment. Now it comes down deep into the King zone and the Coyotes go for it again but can't hang on to it. Bodker couldn't get it. Taken away. Vermette goes for it again. Now Clifford comes barreling over. Muzzin is there for the Kings.
Yeah, Clifford's a left winger, Bob, but he sensed what was going on. He was coming over to support the play. Ends up being a factor in the puck coming out. On his off wing, he comes all the way across the ice.
Connor Murphy moved it across the blue line, but the Kings intercept, and here's Doughty. Giving it back over to Martinez. Now back to Doughty. Up to center on the left wing to Gabrick. 5 goals in the last 3 games. Gabrick's pass broken up, and the Coyotes get it back out to center ice. Into the King zone, a shot deflected up high and off of the glass. Played by the Kings. They get it over to Gabrick again. Gabrick's pass up the middle to Carter. Carter coming across the blue line. Carter gets checked there and taken out of the play on a check by Zbynek McCulloch. Now cleared to center and taken by Martinez for the Kings. And a quick pass to the blue line. Tipped down in by Carter. McCulloch going for it again. He gets checked there by Carter. And the Coyotes control it in their own zone. No score here with just about 5 minutes gone in the first period. Puck taken on the right side and thrown in deep by Sam Gagner. Now a shot comes off the boards. Gagner's in front. Can't get a good shot. Coyotes still battle for it. Hansel kicks it over to Gagner. Out of the left point. Held in there and blocked and cleared out to center ice. Kings had Brown clearing it. They have Williams on that line. Stoll also. Brown just went off the ice, and the Kings will make the change when they get a chance. Puck comes up to center and thrown in by Pearson. Pearson's second among rookies in the NHL in goals with 11. He leads the Kings in goals. Puck is knocked down and played up ahead to center ice now. Knocked down there by Joe Vitale.
Muzzin without a stick right here. He's the first defenseman back. Fortunately, the Coyotes get into a change, and the Kings are going to get out of his zone.
Kings bring it up to center and go. Kings go. The chant is Doughty zigzagging to the blue line, but he had a poke checked away from him, and now it's cleared up ahead to center and sent down by Vitale into the King zone, and an icing call against the Coyotes.
Coyotes doing a good job holding the blue line, but when the Kings have been able to get to the front, that's when all the trouble happens. Look at Dustin Brown right there. Again, Mahako is right there trying to get him down, and Dubnyk actually run into it by his own defenseman. Then you have the chances again in Pearson. That's what he's known for, the tenacity. Didn't think he could raise the puck there with a shot, so he goes with a pass to the front. Again, on attack, the Kings have been kind of stymied at the blue line, but when they do get it deep, players talk about that all the time. Put it in deep, make the other team's defense turn around and go get it, then put the pressure on.
Coyotes win the draw in their own zone and move it up on the left wing to center ice and across the blue line, but an offside called here against the Coyotes. 13:59 to go in the first, and there's no score in the game.
We are back at Staples Hyundai, keys to the game. The start, always important. The reason I bring it up, the Coyotes have only scored first 11 times this year, and the Kings are coming off an emotional high, so you've got to focus in on the start. Contain the Coyotes' defense. They're very active. They like to move the puck around. There's Yandel. He's out there. Even his partner right now, Schlemko. Both guys moving around pretty well. And, of course, the penalty kill. It has been a concern for the Kings of late. A lot of times you say, Bob, with those specialty teams, power plays win you games and penalty kill loses you games. It doesn't always work that way, but the Kings want to clean up that area.
Kings win the draw, and they've got it back in their own zone now, and it's cleared up ahead to center by Martinez. Martinez and Green paired defensively here. And the Coyotes break it up and get it out to center ice where Trevor Lewis takes over for the Kings and gives it to Martinez. Now over to Matt Green. Martinez drives it off the boards, and the Coyotes tipped it away for a second, but Pearson is there for the Kings. He tried to move it ahead, and he's got it. Comes across the line. Pearson, then a shot just knocked away on the shot by Toffoli. Tyler Toffoli getting the shot. Puck is still in the Coyote zone.
Toffoli with a shot, but again, Bob Tanner Pearson, he's a real good start to this game where he's just making something happen. That's when he's on top of his game, getting there and getting there with a purpose.
Coyotes move it up ahead to center ice. Now on the right side. Chased down in deep here behind the net. Taken around the left wing side by Chipchura. Good pass. Broken up and a hard check, and the Kings have it, and it's cleared up to center ice. Kings go for it again, right at center ice. Driven down in deep by Richards. Richards with King and Clifford, this forward line for the Kings. Puck is back to the blue line to Doughty. Doughty gets it over now to Muzzin. His shot knocked away in the corner. Clifford goes for it there on the left wing. Clifford, he gets hit hard. The puck comes into Dwight King. King battling behind the net. Checked by Murphy. King still with it to the blue line. To Richards. He shoots from there and a glove save by Devan Dubnyk.
Well, it's a long wrist shot by Richards, but he is the centerman on the play in a real good defensive position. You have the big bodies down low with Clifford and King. You see Mike Richards right there. He gets it through because he sees the screen. Dubnyk, no, you see Dubnyk leaning right there. He saw the release of the puck. Watch when he looks around. He looks once, that time he sees it. He sees it by looking right. He moves back left to make the save. If he doesn't see that release, that screen becomes a big factor on the play. Good position by Richards. I think he's a key for the team right now. Again, with the big offensive guns getting going, Mike Richards can supply that secondary offense or at least that gritty play. Smart, good position right there to get the shot on goal.
Dubnyk is in his 10th career game against the Kings. He's 4-3-1. And the puck taken now and across the line, Reeder, Tobias Reeder. His pass is broken up, tipped away and sent up to center ice. Kings working on a 3-on-2. Doughty joins the rush, but puck comes over to Brown. He throws it in and Dubnyk breaks it up. Now Brown goes for it again. He couldn't hang on. Now it comes over the right side to Williams. Got a man in front. He gives it to Stoll, and his shot goes up high and off the glass. Back on the right side. Kings had a fortunate bounce on that. Then a shot just wide to the right. Held in by Muzzin. Kings with it again. Williams now in front. Stoll shoots. This time he put it right on the net, but a save by Dubnyk.
And it's all forecheck now. The Kings are getting their chances on the forecheck, and everyone moving around. Pretty physical start for the Kings. Time now for today's Mercedes-Benz Star Watch, brought to you by your Mercedes-Benz dealers of Southern California. Keep an eye on Ekman Larson. We talk about that every game. And with Mike Richards again, Bob, you know, he has not been an offensive threat even going back to last year. I don't expect the numbers to explode. It's just being a bigger factor. And I think lately, especially in the third period in the last game, I think Richards was real sound in his own zone. When the Kings did get the lead, blocking shots, breaking up plays, good D.
Kings win the draw. They've had 7 shots to 1 for the Coyotes. A drive from the blue line by Martinez is wide. Kopitar goes for it. Digs it out. Now a shot up high by Carter. And it came off the boards of the Coyotes. Can they clear it out? They get it out to center ice. Picked up there by Bodker. Bodker. He has it left side. He shoots on a save by Quick. And then a rebound is blocked in front. Sent up the left side. The block by Kopitar, I believe, and now on the left side, here's Gabbert. Offside called against the Kings.
Well, back and forth right there. The first good chance by the Coyotes. Rebound, but Jonathan quick feet to make the save. Of course, with the injury to Regier, you move things around, you shuffle things around. Martinez, once again paired with his old buddy, Matt Green. I talked with Matt at practice yesterday. He said, the band is back together. And I said, yeah, kind of like Hall & Oates. And I thought, you know, maybe Matt's a little bit too young for this. He said, no, I saw Hall & Oates at the Greek Theater not too long ago. Loved them. So the band is back together.
Now the puck taken by the Coyotes. Well, that's good to see if they are as effective as they were when they were together once before. Kings winning the Stanley Cup last season. Puck comes up ahead to center, and Martinez getting the game-winning goals in both the conference final and the Stanley Cup final. No player had ever done that in overtime in those 2 situations before. Puck comes back into the King zone, and McBain was out for 9 games that he did not dress. So this is his first game back in 10 games. The puck comes down into the corner. Picked up there, and Coyotes have it. They move it up ahead now. Here's Moss. He had that breakaway earlier and had a great chance. Makes a nice move there. Moss in front, shoots, and just tipped wide. Well, you talk about guys that are having a great start to this game. David Moss, right side, shot from there, and it's tipped into the corner. The shot by Connor Murphy. Coyotes with some pressure on now in the Kings zone. No score in the game. Here's Chipchura. Kyle Chipchura, he put it back behind the net. Chased along the boards by Moss. He got checked there by Muzzin. Now Chipchura comes barreling in. Also there is Martin Erat. Erat digs it out in the corner. Erat checked by Muzzin. Puck comes free. And sent to Chipchura behind the King net. Kyle Chipchura, he waits there. He looks out in front, and a penalty for interference going to be called here.
Yeah, just jostling in front. I think it was just hard work, and the Coyotes get caught for a penalty. Looks like it's going to be... Let's figure out who's going to the box. It's Erat. Kings on the power play. Got to work hard in the battle zones. Erat is 10, Doughty is 8. Watch Erat just kind of lean in right there. Doughty's looking at the puck, gets knocked off stride. There are a lot of times when players realize that they're both going to lock up, that the referee will overlook that. That was close to one of those situations where it's just one guy being a little bit stronger than the other. Of course, the puck was nowhere near there. And when that type of play usually happens, it usually goes against the team with the puck. That's what happens with the Coyotes. Erat was very strong all shift long, battling in the corner, in the front. The Kings get the call, look for their second chance here on the power play.
They are 0 for 1. They had 2 shots. The previous man advantage. Here's Muzzin. Shoots, blocked, and held in by the Kings. Picked up on the left side by Gabrick. Gabrick walking in. He shoots, knocked down. Gabrick couldn't get to the rebound, and the Coyotes clear it into the Kings zone and just wide of the net to the left side. Kings have outshot the Coyotes 8-4 here in the first period. No score in the game, though, as the Kings bring it up to center, and here's Doughty. Doughty across the line. Doughty on a rush, tops along the board, still has it. Drew Doughty looking down in deep, and it is taken by Gabrick, but the Coyotes take it away, and they get it back up to center ice. Here on the right side is Antoine Vermette, and he drives it into the Kings zone. Kings back to get it. Here is Muzzin back behind the net. Jake Muzzin, 5 points in his last 5 games. Kings come across the line. Brown, his shot, hit a leg and then went wide. Comes off to the right side. Taken there by McBain over to Martinez. Martinez with it again to Williams. Now down into Brown. Brown goes behind the net, tipped away from him. Battle for the puck. It's picked up but not cleared. Held in by Martinez. Martinez gives it over to Williams. Justin Williams fed it down the corner. Now back it goes, and a shot by Martinez is on target, but a save made by Dubnyk.
Yeah, kind of just fumbling with a puck, and then Martinez gets it. He shoots it. You know that's going to happen, and it's always a good decision. Andrei Kopitar, of course, in the last game, really turning things on. 5 points, and things going as well his way. And I asked him yesterday at practice about being down 3-0, and he just talked about the character, the care for his teammates. And he also said they just went into the locker room and said, let's win a period. And then he also brought up, you can always work on your game. So even when you're trailing, even if you're not going to win the game, you can always work on the game while they turn into a win for the Kings. They come back, get the big 2 points.
Coyotes had a chance to clear. They didn't, but now they get it again, and this time it is cleared into the Kings zone, and 25 seconds remain. 2 shots on this power play for the Kings. And they start back out of their own zone again. The Kings 4th in the Pacific Division. Puck driven down in deep by Martinez. Now here's Lewis along the boards. Lewis gets checked there, and the puck comes high in the air and cleared again by the Coyotes into the Kings zone.
And really quiet on the power play, both power plays for the Kings to start again. They got a couple shots through, no rebounds, no second chances. 1 and done for the Kings on the power play.
Now the puck down deep into the Kings zone, and an icing call against the Kings.
And we'll go back to that last game again, Bob, against the St. Louis Blues, because it was just such a great game. With Justin Williams, when I chatted with him yesterday at practice, and I kind of was leading him on because I said, after 2 periods, I felt the Kings were going to win. He said he felt the longer the game went, it was just a matter of time, and that feeling built, and it built, and of course, turned to a very good 3rd period for the Kings.
This face-off in the Kings zone now with 7:40 to go in the first period. And off the draw, the Kings come out with it and up to center ice, but the Coyotes get a stick on it and take it away. Here on the right side, Sam Gagner. Gagner moves it down into the corner. Hansel shoots it, hit the side of the net. and it is picked up by the Kings and sent up ahead to center ice. On the left wing, Pearson drives it down in deep. Tanner Pearson tied for 6th in rookie points in the NHL this season. Coyotes, though, get it back up to center and flipped high in the air and gloved by Quick, and he hangs on for a face-off.
A reminder, you can celebrate your LA Kings this holiday season. Tiffany & Company, 2014. LA Kings Championship Collection features jewelry, tumblers, cufflinks, much, much, much more. Check it out. Tiffany.com/LA Kings. Perfect gift for any Los Angeles Kings hockey fan.
Kings will be home on Monday. That'll be the final game before Christmas. It'll be on Channel 13, KCOP, against the Calgary Flames. Calgary's lost 7 in a row now after a red-hot start. Here is Doan. Doan down in the corner. Shane Doan still battling for it. He leads them in hits with 75, and against the Kings, this is his 100th career game against the Kings here this afternoon for Shane Doan. Hand pass called here, and he has had 76 points in 99 previous games against the Kings.
Well, because of the way the season's going for the Coyotes, there's been talk about trades of Shane Doan, those types of things, asking for a trade. And he says that is the farthest thing from his mind. It's never even crossed his mind. He loves the coach. He loves his teammates. He loves the team, wants to stay there, wants to get it done his way. And it's not going the way the Coyotes want to get going, but Shane Doan is going to be for the Coyotes as long as he wants it that way, and I don't expect him to ask for anything different.
Well, he's been with this franchise since 1995 when he was drafted by the Winnipeg Jets.
I can see other teams inquiring about Shane Doan, but I don't think Doan would go and say, I need to be traded.
Right side, Bodker cuts into the middle. Bodker still with it, hangs on. Now a shot from a sharp angle is wide and out to center ice and all the way back into the Coyote zone.
That was Bodker, Bob. That ability to go from the offside. He's a left-hand shot. He takes it to the middle. He has that glide stride, much like Tarasenko. Very nifty and very difficult to handle.
Now McCulloch clears it up ahead to center and into the King zone. Tipped away for a moment by Green. They get it again. Moss with a shot, knocked down, picked up by Martinez. His pass along the boards. Coyotes go for it again, but it's taken there by Brown and cleared up in the air to center ice.
And that's what the Kings wingers are expected to do. Take a hit when it is called for and make sure that puck gets out of the zone.
Coyotes move it back on the left side. Moss goes right down the middle. Pass came right through and a save made by Quick. And it's out to center ice and taken by David Schlemko.
Safe to say that David Moss has been the most dangerous player by far for the Coyotes. He had the breakaway chance, but every shift he's been on there, he's driving to the net.
Coyotes get it off on the right side and into the King zone. Sent down by Joe Vitale into the corner. Vitale gets it on the stick again, but his pass to the point, Connor Murphy couldn't get over in time to hold it in. It comes all the way deep into the Coyote zone, and a hard check by Tanner Pearson knocks Connor Murphy down. Murphy gets right back up, and he's got the puck on the right wing. He throws it down right side into the zone, and now the Kings pick up a loose puck there and move it up ahead to center. It was Lewis giving it to Pearson. Now Lewis sends it down behind the net. Comes around toward Pearson. Pearson's shot knocked down. Got his stick on it again, but Dubnyk stops it back behind the net. 4:49 left to go here in the first period. Bob Miller along with Jim Fox. And the puck at center ice. Taken there and thrown down in deep by Bolduc. He's in his first game for the Coyotes this season. Up to center ice is Clifford. Clifford across the line, 3-on-2. Pass on the right side to King. In front to Clifford, and Dubnyk didn't stop it. It comes around the left side. He may have for a moment. Then the shot save, rebound. Richard shoots and a save by Dubnyk.
Dubnyk had lost his stick, Bob. He went to grab for it, and all of a sudden the Kings had another shot right back at him.
Here's Doughty still. Richards just had to back off a little bit to try and get that shot up over Dubnyk and couldn't do it.
At 6'5" again, even Dubnyk on his knees is a big target.
There's a shot by Clifford and a save in the glove of Devan Dubnyk. 4:04 to go in the first. The Kings have 11 shots. The Coyotes have 6, but we're scoreless. We'll be back.
We're back on Patrick O'Neill. Time for the Cold Hard Facts, brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light. Only once in the last 20 years has a Kings trio scored more than the 12 points put up by Kopitar, Carter, and Gaborik. It was Craig Conroy, the late great Pavel Demitra, Alexander Frolov. They combined for 13 points in 2005. So if this line stays together, Jim, we may have to name them. The $1 million line, maybe 2 on the money. Two on the money? No?
Well, that's a big bang for the buck right there.
Puck comes up ahead to center. I miss naming the lines. I really do, and a lot of it is because sometimes there's two guys on a line and they keep substituting the third, but there have been some great nicknames of lines in NHL history.
I'm going to humbug on it, Bob. I think it's too forced nowadays. I think people are trying to force it, and it just doesn't. It has to happen. It has to come out of nowhere. You can't try to name a line. It has to name itself.
Well, and it did years ago in Detroit, the production line. That fit the city of Detroit. The Triple Crown line fit the Kings, really.
And that's when, Bob, lines not only played together during a season, they played together for season upon season upon season, so then you got a chance to see them all the time.
The gag line in Long Island, I guess, could have been taken two ways. Goal a game is what it stood for.
Depends how they played.
Doughty shoots, and it's wide to the right and cleared out to center, and Doughty back to get it for the Kings. Now over to Jake Muzzin.
We heard they could be real sick at times.
Up the center to Clifford. Sends it across the line. Sick had a different meaning in those years.
You couldn't use the same then as you use it now.
Puck taken by the Coyotes up to center ice into the Kings zone. Pass ahead now and just tipped away there from the Kings out of the reach of Erat. And now the Coyotes lose it off Yandel's stick out to center ice. A little tough hanging on to the puck right here, but Moss gets it over now, and a shot by Erat, and a save and a rebound in deep, and it hit the side of the post and stayed out. Coyotes with a great chance. Kings come back. Carter with Kopitar. Carter to Kopitar, and just deflected wide to the left. Kopitar with it again. At it for a second. Boy, from fumbling around for both teams at center ice trying to get the puck, it's really turned in. Carter scores! The Kings got the puck, and Jeff Carter puts them ahead 1-0.
Carter right on the money with that shot. I mean, he tagged it. It was a turnover by the Coyotes, but he turned it around quickly. Kopitar gets it. Well, Coyotes had four across on the attack. There's Yandel. Keep an eye on the defenseman. It's actually, it's Yandel. Defenseman jumping into the play. But then the Kings able to go the other way and make things happen. Here's the turnover coming up. Yandel, the guilty party, into the legs of Kopitar, and bang that quick. That's a bad angle shot. Dubnyk has the angle cut down, but the shot is so quick and so accurate, and because of the turnover, Kings lead 1-0.
Carter getting his 9th of the year, and now the Coyotes clear it to the blue line. Carter now with 6 points in his last 3 games. Kopitar gets an assist on it. So Andrei Kopitar gets another point. He had 5 in the last game. He's got 7 points in the last 3 as the puck comes up out of play.
And Bob, the way Kopitar passes the puck has a lot to do with what happens on the shot. Coverage not bad by the Coyotes, but again, behind the net, this is not unusual. Watch right here. Yandel thinks he has more time, looks up, tries to go up the middle. And that's the mistake. On the boards, that was the opening. But again, Kopitar just lays the puck there. And Carter recognizes that fact, and that's why he shoots it right away. If the pass was harder, he probably would understand there's someone about to check him. Kopitar knew Carter was wide open, so he just laid it there. And the soft pass turns into the one-timer. Kings have a 1-0 lead.
17th time this year the Kings have scored first, and their record when they score first, 12-1-3. For Kopitar now with that assist, 7 points in the last 3 games for him. Puck is back toward the blue line with 3 players sprawled back on the ice. Back deeper in the zone. Doughty was one, and we're going to get a penalty. Muzzin was the other.
Something to do with holding or grabbing the puck, maybe, Bob. See the referee right here?
Stick.
Holding the stick. Yeah, he gave the hold signal. Yeah. Actually, last game, I think Muzzin got away with actually grabbing the puck one time. It was high in the air, and you can't close your hand on it. And even in the game nowadays, I know it didn't happen on this one, but you can't even cover the puck anymore.
Right.
You don't even close your hand, you get the penalty. This one is closing his hand on the stick, not his own stick, the opposition stick, and that's the reason he goes to the box. And Muzzin gets involved right here. You see the stick is free. Well, I hope that's not it right there, because he held it with his toenail. The stick actually got caught in between his skates. I assume that's not the call on the play. The fans reacted like it was. If that's the case, certainly a wrong call, but we've seen that more and more of late where the stick gets caught and the player goes down.
Coyotes 10th in the league on the power play, hitting at 20.4%. Against the Kings this season, they're 2 out of 6. King penalty killing tied for 20th at 79.8. Coyotes' first opportunity this afternoon with a power play, and Oliver Ekman-Larsson drives it into the King zone. Green goes for it in the corner. Tried to get it to Martinez behind the net. Broken up, but not cleared by the Kings. Over to Ekman-Larsson. Ekman-Larsson gives it now to Yandel. He shoots, and it's tipped wide. Chasing it down the left side now is Vermette. Back to the blue line and falling down here, and here's a break. Here's a break for Brown. Moving in front. Or Lewis, excuse me. Lewis moving in, and it's tipped away from him and back up on the right side to Doan.
There was Ekman-Larsson showing his skating ability. He's not known as a player that can really skate that fast because he's so economical. But he closed the gap on Lewis. Of course, when you have the puck, you're slower than when you don't have it. But Ekman-Larsson gets it done defensively, at least to pressure the play.
Under a minute to play here in the first period. Coyotes with a power play, but the Kings have it. It's batted out of midair and back down by Pearson into the Coyote zone. Coyotes start back up ahead to center. Here's Yandel. He's led them in scoring a couple of years as a defenseman. Puck comes out to the blue line on the right point as Tobias Reeder gave it over now to Schlemko. Up the middle to Yandel. Now on the left side. Yandel waiting again. Kings try to break it up. Pass in deep. A shot knocked down by Quick, and he covers it up.
Well, just staying at home right there, making sure the shot is not the most dangerous shot, taking away other options. And that weird play with Jake Muzzin, he was involved. Here's the play with the pressure coming from the side. Yeah, look at Ekman-Larsson. What a play there. You can't take down the player anymore. Remember, that would be a penalty. Here's what happens after the stick gets caught. He said, I've got to get it out of my skate. And in doing so, he grabs onto the stick. Does he hold on a little bit too long after the fact? I think the referee would have let him get away with the initial grab just to make sure the stick is not lodged in the skate. After that, a little bit too long.
Yandel back in his own zone to get it after the Kings cleared it. Now it's taken by Martin Hansel. Hansel's pass, right side, on the power play for the Coyotes. It's got only 6 seconds left to go on it. Kings trying to clear. They don't do it yet. A shot deflected into the corner, taken by Green. They get one shot on the power play, and time runs out in the first period. And the penalty to the Kings is over also. So at the end of one, Carter gets his 9th of the year from Kopitar at 17:22, and the Kings leave with a 1-0 lead.
And I talked about start being a key to the game. It was a real solid start. Now again, the quality chances the Kings are giving up may be a concern. You know, Robin Reguera was talking about that. Reguera not in the lineup. But overall, puck control, forecheck, tempo, real good by the Kings.
So Jim Fox coming up here, and he's going to talk with Jamie McBain. His last game was November 29th against Chicago. We'll be right back. All rights to this broadcast are reserved, and any rebroadcast, recording, retransmission, telecommunication to the public, or other unauthorized use of this broadcast without the express written permission of the Los Angeles Kings is prohibited. Kings Hockey is brought to you by AT&T U-verse high-speed internet. The U-verse revolves around you. Call 1-800-PIC-ATT. By Honda. Start something special with a great deal on a Honda. Now at your Honda dealer. And by Jack in the Box. Love sriracha? Head to Jack in the Box for Jack's new spicy sriracha burger at participating restaurants.
Back at Staples Center, but so let's flash back. 2011. This date, Daryl Sutter was hired as the Kings head coach, and of course, I think I'm pretty familiar with what's happened since then. I think it's gone pretty, something tells me it's gone okay for the Kings since Daryl has joined, and we've talked many times about him setting a tone, especially on a game day. He doesn't have a lot of chance to do that, Bob, on an afternoon matinee because you don't have a morning skate, but he starts the day before. That's when he throws it. It's an afternoon game. He says the time. It's a 1 o'clock. He's always trying to get the players as much as possible just to focus in on that start. And he certainly is that type of coach that gets it going. And the Kings got it going there in the first period. They have a 1-0 lead.
And the face-off at center. It's Hansel against Kopitar, and Martin Hansel wins the draw. The puck comes up on the left side to Tobias Reeder, but he didn't get it. It's taken by Doughty. Doughty's pass tipped away by Sam Gagne into the corner. Now over to help out is Kopitar, and his clearing attempt went up into the Coyote bench.
Twitter is alive, Bob, with naming the line.
Really?
Their name. I've got one, a good one. The Jam line. That's from Sin County Mark. Jam. Jeff. Anjay. Marion. The first initials of the first name. Not bad. I have two people. Lee Orchard, 1, and Chris Cannell, who both go to the 100 line. Because when you add up the numbers of all three players, it equals a perfect 100.
Okay.
There we go.
Good thinking by those Kings fans.
I like the Jam line. That's kind of simple.
Yeah.
You know, right at it. Jam. They got Jam. They're playing with Jam.
Now the puck taken by the Kings at center ice, but tipped away by Hansel. He chased it down, and getting back was Muzzin. But Hansel got a shot, and he scored. Muzzin was all over him, and Hansel still scored to tie the game.
That's just a fight for a puck, and that's something any head coach wants to see. Not Daryl Sutter, but Dave Tippett. I'm talking about the second and third effort by Hansel, because it never looks like it's really going to be a quality scoring chance. And then he might get a break, at least on how the puck ends up going in the net. He doesn't get a break on this, though. This is work. Good strip initially. Body position. Inside position. Then at the end, there's the break I'm talking about. It goes off the stick of the back-checking Marian Gaborik. But he has to work once and twice and 3 times. Never really gets the quality chance. Really doesn't even pick up his head. He just feels he has to drive there. But it was his stick work to create the initial turnover just outside the blue line, and then the hard work to get it back. And the Coyotes right back in this game. They tied up 1-1.
His 6th of the year. 44 seconds into the second period, the Coyotes tie the game. Here's Brown now into the Coyote zone. Brown for the Kings. Threw it back behind the net. It comes into the right wing corner. Chase down there. Puck is to the blue line to Green. Now over to Martinez. He shoots, and a save by Dubnyk. Hansel gets his 6th of the year. It's unassisted. First shot on goal of that second period.
So he gets himself into position with the big body and the strength. And Gaborik on the back check, you see him reach with his stick. They're just trying to get the puck, and he certainly does. And you see right up underneath. The referee had it called on the ice. Of course, you go to review if you don't see it, but the ref on the ice had it called, and just enough. So you're trying to do the right thing. You're trying to get in position. You're always talking about stick-on-puck defending nowadays. That's what happened, unfortunately, right to the top.
Stoll wins the draw in the Coyote zone, and a shot, and another save by Dubnyk on the shot by Martinez. So the face-off stays in the zone as you get a good look at Martinez there, and he fires away every chance he gets. He's going to be going to the bench right now. They're going to send out Doughty along with Muzzin. Stoll ready on the face-off. Stoll 50.5 on face-offs. Then a shot knocked down and into the corner. Shot was back on the left wing side, and now chased in by McBain for the Kings. McBain back behind the net. Handles it, moves it up the left side. Brown got it to the blue line, and then out to center ice right in front of the Coyote bench. Puck taken away by Williams.
Once again, Bob, a Kings winger comes all the way across the ice, part of the Kings system, to come across, slash skate, and support. So when the other winger gets into a physical confrontation on the other side, you have help and you get the puck out of the zone.
Brown up the center, throws it deep into the zone. Chased in behind the net by Dubnyk, the goaltender. He drops it off there to Chris Summers, and the Coyotes start back up ahead to center ice. 1-1 the score. Hard check by McNabb, and boy, that is becoming something we see almost every game. What a check he threw there. The puck comes back down into the Coyote zone. Braden McNabb. Puck deep into the zone, and now chased down along the boards. Kings try to dig it out, can't do it yet. Coyotes put it back behind their own net, or toward the back of their own net. Lemko got checked. Pearson looks for it, couldn't hang on. Coyotes get it to the blue line, but not out. Here's Muzzin keeping it in. Muzzin down in deep. Muzzin, his pass, tipped but taken by Toffoli. Tyler Toffoli to the blue line, held right there by McBain, right on the line. He drives it around the boards. Right side to Toffoli. Toffoli checked there, and the puck hops up over the glass.
Going to be an automatic penalty here, Bob. One of those delay of games, and under pressure. That's a weird one because it's not even thrown over. It's just Yandel getting over there trying to make it happen. So the Kings will get a chance. Another power play has not been going well. Dave Tippett has got to keep his calm, composure. McBain was on the ice with McNabb, and McNabb makes the hit here. McMillan kind of new to this league. Well, you see the contact's okay. McMillan's already bent over, and he at the last second, That's just leading with a shoulder. And again, you see the skates come off the ice after contact, not before contact. That's the important thing right there. That's a skill. If it was easy, everyone would do it.
Doughty shoots and a save and a rebound up the middle. Picked up by Muzzin. Now Doughty gets it from Carter. Doughty now pass in front. Carter shoots and just tipped wide.
One-touch passing. Really no answer for that if you're a penalty killer, and that's what the Kings do right there with all three big guys on the ice. Move it around quick and make sure the puck does the work.
Yandel gets the delay of game, and the Kings offside at the blue line, and they got to get it cranked up here. This penalty killing for the Coyotes, 28th out of 30 teams in the league.
Kings tried to get it there on the first initial play where it's moving back and forth, and once, twice, and just kind of a missed shot that goes off of Gaborik and falls to the side of the net. And part of that is because you have the front net presence of Gaborik in front. That allows the other guys to move it around. Good start. Now you want to see the finish.
Well, you can see the shots on goal, double for the Kings with 18. Puck is in the Coyote zone, broken up there and cleared again, back down into the King zone.
I'm not going to tell those guys how to play, but you probably want to get deeper into the zone before you make that pass into the middle, unless it's a drive to the net that's going to go all the way to the net. Take that time and set it up.
Nice pass left side by Doughty, then a shot saved by Dubnyk. Rebound. Just knocked away to the left and taken by Muzzin.
Quick feet. Dubnyk, the big guy. That first one, Bob, was high. May have hit him in the mask, but then he has to make a foot save, kicking it out.
Here is Carter. Carter held it in. He got it over now to Gaborik. Gaborik looking for Kopitar. Kopitar's got it, but can't get a shot off. Here's Kopitar to the blue line. He gives it there to Doughty. Back to Kopitar. 1-1 the score. Kings with a chance to take the lead. Kopitar, his pass across over on the left side, and now to the blue line and held in by Muzzin. Muzzin. His pass comes over and a shot knocked away. The shot by Carter knocked away by Dubnyk. Now in the right wing corner, Kings go for it again, but it's cleared. Back down into the King zone and on target, cleared there by McMillan.
Your hope would be that the first two power plays for the Kings would be the same as this one right here, where you're getting a lot of chances.
Here's Stoll down the right wing. Kings have 3 shots on this power play. Haven't been able to score. Back to the blue line. Right side, Jamie McBain shoots and a save, and a rebound is cleared again the length of the ice with 3 seconds to go, and the Kings are going to be 0 for 3 with 7 shots on the power play. They had 4 on that one. So it's still tied 1-1. Williams sends it into the corner. Going for there is Brown, but an icing call against the Kings.
So the power play was working. It didn't finish on the play, and now we'll see if the momentum can keep going forward. Here's that shot I'm talking about. Yeah, right off the mask, but then it got down low, and while going one way, he has to reach back the other way. I think Jeff Carter gets a lot on this one. Watch the rebound attempt. And Dubnyk, look at the focus. It's right there, and he comes back and takes it right off the knee. That's just good second effort there by Jeff Carter to get it going. And Dubnyk, as I mentioned, I remember watching Dubnyk while practice with the Edmonton Oilers. I was sitting behind the net one day, and I couldn't see. This guy is huge, and I think he's learning finally now that he doesn't have to move a lot. He's so big, just make the save by getting in the way.
Here's Shane Doan. Doan, in his 100-game lifetime against the Kings, still has it. Couldn't get a shot off, and his pass comes all the way back in the Coyote zone.
Smart D there by Justin Williams. McBain is chasing Doan. Maybe Doan's going to hit the seam, and you have that help from a forward coming down and taking away the seam.
Here's Mikhail Bodker at center ice. Leads them in goals with 9. Puck is picked up and brought to center ice now by Bodker into the King zone. He gets cut off there and gets it back to the blue line to Yandel. Yandel waits, then he shoots. Blocked in front. Rebound shot just wide to the right side. Chipchura was right in front. He's got it again. Chipchura turns. He shoots. Deflected into the net, and the Coyotes have the lead 2-1.
Yeah, it's one of those games, Bob. It's just one of those games. Maybe the 10th shot on goal, if it's even counted as a shot, it has to. It went in the net, but it deflected, it moved. The Coyotes have had chances few and far between, but the puck is finding a way into the net, and that is the bottom line. Pretty solid D as far as keeping it out of trouble. Chipchura, watch this. He throws it. It goes off 1-2. 2 Kings and in the net. One stick preventing the pass from getting through. The second one just takes it over. So that's just nothing you can defend there. Look at Jonathan Quick. He's demoralized on that one. Chipchura's trying to go in behind, and how many times do you see you go off of 2 defenders? Second goal of the season. Again, it comes on a kind of a broken play, although the Coyotes did have the forecheck going. 10th shot, 2 goals.
Well, it hit Richards and McNabb. So the fortunes have gone the way of the Coyotes here in the second period. Puck taken and 2 goals off of 2 King sticks here in the second period. 2-1 Coyotes lead for the first time today. Lewis up the center for the Kings. Lewis, his pass deflected to the right point and held in by Pearson, but taken away by the Coyotes. Hansel up the center ice. He got stopped there, and Pearson knocked it down, couldn't get to the loose puck. Picked up now by Reeder, Tobias Reeder. His drive is wide and back behind the net, taken there by the Kings Muzzin. Kings still in their own zone. Doughty gets it back into Muzzin, then quickly over the left wing and up to the blue line, and up to center ice is Lewis. Lewis throws it left side. Chased in by Pearson. He went down to the ice. Kings hold it in. Shot from the blue line is wide to the left. Shot there by McNabb, and the puck comes around the right side to McBain. McBain's pass or shot knocked away by Reeder, and back up to center ice come the Coyotes. Here across the line, Summers drops it back to Hansel. His shot is wide, played by Brown. Brown got it toward the blue line, and not out yet. Held in by the Coyotes, Martin Erat. Erat got knocked down, and the puck comes up to Yandel at center ice. Yandel falls down. Puck taken by Erat. Into the Kings zone. Kings had a 1-0 lead. They're down 2-1 now here in the second period. Stoll chasing it down, but David Moss had it. Now Moss again across the line. Right side, he shoots, and off the glove of Quick. Puck taken away. Kings gave it away on the left wing side to Erat. Now on the right, a shot wide off the board. Kings with it and will bring it up to center ice. Here's McBain. McBain across the line, gives it over to Williams. Williams looking for room. Williams still with it, can't get a shot. Tipped away there, as coming back was Moss again. Puck is taken by Yandel. Up to Bodker. Bodker with it for the Coyotes. Throws it down in deep. They've had only 2 wins in their last 10 games. 1 regulation win in their last 13. And yet they lead here this afternoon, 2-1. Here's Carter. Carter got it up ahead to center ice. Kings to the blue line. Left side, nice move there. Gabrick chasing it in. He got checked there, but Kopitar over to help out. Now it comes to Carter. Carter's got the King goal this afternoon. Carter with it, left side, he shoots. Save, puck comes up out of play off of the screen. And we will be right back. 2-1, the Kings trail in the game.
Well, you try to figure out things sometimes, and give Hansel some credit here again. The second, third effort to make it work, and then the stick of the back checker, Gabrick. The Kings have 1 goal. The Coyotes have 1 goal. They have 2 now because they get another stick, 2 sticks. So the Kings have propelled the puck into the net all 3 times in today's game. Unfortunately, 2 have gotten by that man, and only 1 by Dubnyk. We have a little delay because Dubnyk's coming back into the net right now. He looked like he had to have an adjustment to his mask. And remember that shot earlier by Gabrick off the wing. He has that neck protector, which hangs loosely. Sometimes that gets jarred, and sometimes it breaks, and that might have been what happened because the shot by Gabrick hit him up high, and it took him a while to get that fixed at the bench.
Arizona has scored on their first 2 shots of this period, on consecutive shots to take a 2-1 lead. There's a shot and a save and a rebound up the middle to Kopitar, but his shot deflected wide. Picked up now and cleared, not cleared yet by the Coyotes. Now McCulloch got it up to the blue line and out to center. Chipchura getting his first goal in the last 19 games has put the Coyotes ahead 2-1. Here's Kopitar for the Kings. Moves it up ahead to center. Taken now and across the line. Kings get it over to Carter on the right wing. He overskated. Now gets back to pick it up. Held in there by Martinez. Now centered in front to Carter, but he didn't get the puck. The Kings do get it, though, on the right side as Doughty got to it. Threw it back behind the net. McCulloch took it away there as Gabrick thought he was going to have a chance to get it. Now it is still in the Coyote zone. Coyotes control it now, and they move it up ahead to the blue line, and now get it over to Oliver Ekman-Larsson, who drives it into the Kings zone. Puck is along the boards and down into the corner. Now behind the net, Kings zone taken by Muzzin. Then a hard check there on the far side as the puck came all the way down into the Coyote zone. It was Murphy throwing that check, and the puck back behind the net. And Clifford comes back and he smacks Summers behind the net. So Kyle took one, and then he comes back and he gives one, but the Coyotes have it. Back up ahead to center ice. Into the Kings zone now. Across the line. Thrown in by Gagne. Back is Richards to try and get it. Reeder right behind him. Richards gets it off on the left side. Coyotes trying to take it away. Now it's toward the blue line, and the Kings are going to get to it, I believe, and they do, but Doughty peels back into his own zone. 9:40 to go in the second period. Up ahead to center. Taken there by Stoll and tried to give it to Brown. Broken up. Kings have it again. I mentioned this once before, and maybe it's the way the game is going. But these afternoon games, you don't get the crowd riled up the way you do on a night game. So it's kind of dead in the building right here. The puck is cleared up to center ice. Coyotes go for it. Chipchura left side. Hangs on. Feeds it back to Yandel. Yandel's pass broken up by the Kings. And Stoll gets held up and no penalty. Looked like he got dragged back a little bit, but the Kings got it in the Coyote zone. Coyotes Yandel takes it away. His pass broken up there. Back into the Coyote zone and keep Yandel with it. Yandel led the team in assists and points last season. Chipchura moved it across the line. Taken there by Moss. Off on the right side. Nice move there. And a check by Lewis, and then a shot wide by Moss, and the puck comes back to center. Taken by the Coyotes, who got over in a hurry, and then Williams went down to the ice. Puck is back into the King zone and not cleared out by the Kings. Taken there by Martin Hansel. Put it in deep. Kings, nice pass up ahead now to Lewis. Lewis gives it over to McBain. McBain across the line, drops it to a shot by Pearson. Steered away into the corner. Pearson goes for it again, didn't get it. Toffoli, he gets knocked down hard into the boards. Puck is cleared up to center ice, and back to get it now, McNabb. Braden McNabb gives it over to McBain. Now to center, off the stick of Lewis, but he got it back again. Lewis on the right wing. Lewis's pass. Right in front, a shot wide to the left side there by Pearson. Then a rebound shot knocked down in front on a broken stick. It was blocked by Reeder, and he broke his stick on it. Had to go over to the bench to get another one.
Just recognized just in time. He tried to play the puck, but of course the stick just snapped in his hands. Couldn't do so. Used his feet to keep it alive.
Kings have 11 shots in this period to 3 for the Coyotes, but on 3 of those, Kings players tipped 2 of them into their own net, so it's 2-1 Coyotes. Pass ahead to Carter. Carter leaves it right side to Kopitar. Kopitar back left side, shot. Goodman got back, rebound in front, shot up high by Carter over the net, picked up by Muzzin. Now back behind the net, taken by Kopitar. Kopitar's pass, broken up, not cleared, held in. Nice play to hold it in by Carter to Doughty. Doughty shoots, save Dubnyk, and no rebound.
You're going to start to wonder. You're going to start to wonder what's going on in this game. The Coyotes get 2 bounces off of King sticks. Carter has it in behind the goaltender. It's bouncing. He wants it. He doesn't get it. We come back. Patrick O'Neill on the bench with that man, Matt Green.
I'm here with Matt Green. The score might not reflect. It seems like you guys are playing really well. What's your take on this game? What do you like about how your team is doing?
Getting some chances, but we got to bury. We got to get back in this game, and that's the bottom line.
Any more physical than other games? Seems like some big hits out there.
Yeah, that's the way it's going to play between these 2 teams. So just make sure that we're staying physical, staying on the body, and getting some goals.
Thanks for the time. Appreciate it. Okay, guys, back to you.
Yeah, stay on the body, get some goals. The Kings have done just about everything. And, of course, Jeff Carter just missed that last one. He's talking about taking the body. What about Braden McNabb? Can I mention it as a skill? Usually don't talk about hitting as a skill, but he does it as well as anyone.
Kings in the Coyote zone, right point. A shot is deflected up high. The shot by McBain, and off the netting out of play.
I mentioned just kind of worrying, Bob, about what way this game is going because of how the goals have gone in and those types of things. I've talked to Kings players many times before. It's a very important thing to have a short memory at times and just think about that next one. And they talk about shift at a time, and that's what's happening. But you're just kind of creeping in the back of my mind as an observer here because Kings dominating the puck, but trailing by 1.
Kings win the draw. Carter got it back to McBain. Now in the corner is Kopitar, but he can't hang on to it, and the Coyotes bring it back up to center ice. Pass off the boards on the right side, and McNabb in to get to it. Puck taken now by Kopitar. Makes a nice move there to control the puck and gives it up on the right side to Jamie McBain. McBain across the line. McBain checked there and holds it in. Drives it in deep. And the puck comes into the corner and then sent toward the net as Gaborik had been knocked down. I think some of the fans were looking for maybe a tripping penalty, but the Coyotes have it back in their own zone now. And we've got 6 minutes left to go here in the second period, and the Coyotes have a 2-1 lead. Pass up ahead, left side. Hansel back on the right side. Tried to give it over there to McMillan. And it's behind the net in the King zone now. Hansel with it again. He drops it off there. McMillan shoots wide. Rebound comes off the board. And it is held in again by the Coyotes. Pass down in deep, broken up, and the Kings get it out to center ice. But taken away by Keith Yandle. Kings have 27 shots to 11 for the Coyotes, and yet the Coyotes have a 2-1 lead. Puck thrown in toward Dwight King. King, Coyote zone into Richards in the corner. Barreling in there also is Clifford.
Clifford's going to get a penalty here for boarding. A little bit too much from behind, it looked like. Kind of a dangerous situation with the way the guy falls into the board. So Kyle Clifford will be going to the box. The Coyotes lead the Kings 2-1. Back right after this. Kyle Clifford's going off for the board. He comes from the left side all the way across. Now keep in mind, watch the separation and then the final shove right there. That's the difference between the board. There's not a lot of force on the actual hit or contact. Hansel goes in, goes off one guy, but then Clifford follows through right there. What the rule book asks you to do is avoid or minimize, and that shove is definitely boarding. That actual move there was put into the rule book a couple years ago because it doesn't look that, you don't hardly hit the guy, but that last shove at the last second to knock a guy off balance, and Hansel goes to the bench. Coyotes go on the power play.
Coyotes with a 2-1 lead, and the face-off in the King zone. Antoine Vermette will take the draw here for the Coyotes, and he wins it back to Yandle. Keith Yandle at the blue line, gives it to Bodker. Bodker down in deep. Here is Vermette to Yandle. Shoots, and a save by Quick. Puck comes back along the boards left side and chased down by Doan. Doan tried to get it back behind the net, but the Kings took it away and cleared it back down into the Coyote zone. In the wild card standings coming into the game today, the Kings take it away. Hang on just a second. Back sent in deep by Lewis. Winnipeg leads the wild card in the West. They've got 40 points. The Kings second with 38. And Calgary, who will be here on Monday night, they're third in the wild card race in the West with 36 points. But the Flames now, after a great start, have lost 7 straight. Here's Bodker. Bodker on the power play. Dropped it back. Now the blue line Yandle. Moves it off on the right side. Back to Yandle it goes. Yandle shoots. Knocked down. Rebound. Save again there. A nice save there as diving to his left was Quick. And he made the stop of the puck held in by Vermette. Shoots. Blocked into the corner. And the puck cleared back out the center and down into the Coyote zone, and a penalty against Phoenix.
Yeah, Doan's going to
coming up.
Yeah, it's going to be interference on the play, Bob. Doan kind of going after a puck, and it goes through a King. I think it was Alec Martinez. Yeah, interference is the call. So 50 seconds of 4-on-4, and then the Kings would end up getting the power play. Watch number 19. It's not that one right there. It's going to come a little bit later. That's the save of Jonathan Quick. That's ho-hum by Jonathan Quick. He does that all the time. It's no big deal. I mean, he just comes across and becomes Elastic Man. Look at that again. The ability to get that glove over top of the pad in front of the net. There's the interference. Doan's trying to get to the point where he can become a screen on the play. He has to go through Martinez, knocks him down along the way. Great save. A penalty. We've got 4-on-4.
4-on-4 for 50 seconds. 5-0. Then the Kings would have a power play, and the face-off here in the Coyote zone. Coyotes can't clear it out yet. Nice play there, but now it's still not cleared out. Brown tried to hold it in, couldn't do it. Coyotes take it away and move it into the Kings zone. Muzzin breaks it up there. Stoll and Brown up front for the Kings, and Brown gets it over to Stoll. Stoll at the blue line, gives it to Brown, but offside called here against the Kings.
The power play was better last time. I know we still have 28 seconds of 4-on-4. It was better the third time for the Kings. Kind of slow early. Something to build on, and again, you just get that type of feeling that the Coyotes they're very confident in Dubnyk right now. I mean, the goaltender has been solid. He's picked up 6 wins on the season. Doesn't seem like many, but 6-2-2 is a good record for a team like the Coyotes who've been struggling. And you just want to put the pressure on as much as possible and get second and third chances.
Zdeněk Michalek out of the Czech Republic moves it up on the right side. Here is Reeder. Throws it down and deep. He's out of Germany. Reeder goes back behind the net, tried to pick it up. Kings will have a power play here in 6 seconds. And a pass right up the middle and a shot by Reeder knocked down. Rebound and a save. And hanging on is Quick after that shot. And face-off, that could have been disastrous, right, with 1 second left to go before the Kings have the man advantage.
Ekman Larsson didn't get a lot on it. He may have been fumbled up there by Trevor Lewis on the play. Last day to purchase your raffle tickets to win the ultimate holiday gift for any Kings fans is December 23rd. You can win a Stanley Cup champion ring, signed jersey, tickets to an LA Kings home game, and more. LAKings.com/raffle to purchase today.
Now the Kings are on the power play. They're 0 for 3 with 7 shots. Let's see what they do here. Can they tie it up? They've got 1:04 left to go on the power play. Here is Kopitar across the line. Kopitar check there. Puck comes into the corner. Coyote zone. Carter trying to dig it out. Carter spins around and gets it over on the left side to McBain, who throws it down into Carter again. Here's Carter. Back to McBain in the slot to Martinez. He shoots wide to the right side. Rebound to Gabrick. Broke his stick on him. Martinez has to get another one. Gabrick moved it down the corner. Now Martinez has another stick. He gives it over to McBain to Martinez. Now left side, shot from there. Save. Shot by Gabrick. Blocked. And now back to Martinez. Back over to Gabrick. Had to chase it into the corner. He gives it back to Martinez. 20 seconds to go in the power play. McBain up the middle. Now Gabrick shoots. He scores! Marian Gabrick ties the game at 2 on the power play. Good movement.
There's a lot of tic-tac-toe in this one. A lot of tic-tac-toe. It took a while. One thing I've noticed with Jamie McBain, he snaps everything on the ice. He snaps those passes around. You see Dubnyk here. He's caught out of position, the goaltender. He thought the puck was going on net. Kopitar deceptive with a backhand pass. Watch the goaltender. Look at that. He's still looking at Andrei Kopitar. The screen was there with Jeff Carter, so that prevents him from seeing exactly what's going on. That was a great look right there to see how the goaltender was confused on the play. A backhand pass will do that, but the passes were perfect. They were accurate. The shot with an empty net. Kings tied up 2-2, and you could feel it on the power play. It was a matter of time. It was coming. It was getting better every single time the Kings had the puck.
Gabrick with his 10th of the year. He's got goals in 4 straight games now, and he's got 6 goals in those 4 games. So now Marian Gabrick really getting hot, and he ties the game at 2. Kopitar gets an assist, his second of the game, and McBain with the other assist.
McBain just snaps right on the stick of Kopitar. You move it around, call for the puck. That's the case. You gotta stop here, guys. There's Kopitar in front, but keep in mind, the biggest issue is right here with the goal. Jeff Carter's gonna move in position to screen the goaltender. Another stop. Look at this. There's no way. There was no way whatsoever that the goaltender could even see the backhand pass. It wasn't a shot. Don't worry about the shot. He didn't see the pass, and way out of position to try to make a save.
Well, let's see what the Kings do now. They've actually scored 4 times in the game, but it's tied 2-2. Puck comes across the blue line to center. A couple of those Coyote goals were tipped in off of Kings sticks. Puck is taken by Pearson. Pearson with it now. So Gabrick is 10th of the year. The assists go to Kopitar, his second of the game, and Jamie McBain at 17:40 of the second period. Yandel moves it up ahead to center ice. Tipped away there by Green, and the puck taken by the Kings. Back they come to center ice. Foley down the right side, trying to go behind the net to pick it up, and it is driven around him up toward the blue line, and the Coyotes Yandel gets it up ahead to Chipchura. Less than a minute to go in the second period. Puck comes to center and taken by the Kings. To Foley to Doughty. Doughty down the middle. Doughty makes a move, but couldn't get in around Yandel. Made a great move there if it had paid off, but it's held in by Clifford, but now taken away by the Coyotes. They get it back to Vermette at center ice. Vermette, he gets hit hard by McNabb. Puck comes down in deep, and it is tipped in the corner up the middle. Shot from there. Glove saved by Quick, and he hangs on.
Now there's the difference with a goaltender being able to move out, control an angle, and be free to see the puck. But back on that last one again, watch the goaltender. The pass is being made. And of course, the goaltender is still looking here. The puck is way over here. And he keeps on it. He keeps on it because of the screen of Jeff Carter. He can't see the pass. Great look down. There's the handheld camera right there on ice level. At first when I saw it, and here's the save by Quick, Doan moves out of the way. It just allows Quick to see it. When I saw the Gaborik goal, Bob, I thought initially there must be some interference there. Carter must have made contact. No contact whatsoever. It was just a screen.
29 seconds ago in the period. Puck is in the Kings zone. Ekman Larsson had that shot that was gloved by Quick, and the Kings get it up to center ice. Can they take the lead before the end of the period? Cutting in deep is Carter into the corner. Jeff Carter with it. Carter to the blue line. Now taken by Doughty. Looking for room. He shoots. Save. Rebound comes back over to Carter. Now to Kopitar. Kopitar. And it's tipped away from him out to center ice, and Doughty chases it down. 1 second to go, and that is the end of the second period. The Kings had 15 shots to 6 for Arizona in the second period. Arizona gets 2 goals. Hansel is 6th. Chipchura his 2nd. But then Marian Gaborik gets goals in 4 straight games, his 10th of the year, and 6 in the last 4 from Kopitar and McBain to tie it at 2.
A lot of good things to get in that period. Again, when the Kings were trying to defend well, they did it a couple of times, just bad bounces, and you can just kind of tell with the Kings and their attitude, they realized that situation didn't change what they were doing. Power play comes through with a big goal.
So the Kings and the Coyotes are tied 2-2, and when we come back, it'll be Patrick and Alex with Holiday in the Hangar. Kings Hockey is brought to you by Kia. Visit mysocalkia.com to learn more. By Mercury Insurance. Get a free quote today from Mercury Insurance and get a free collectible mini stick set featuring Anjay Kopitar. And by Staples. Make more happen.
Welcome back to Staples Center. Matinee action 2-2 after 2 downstairs. Kings associate head coach, that is John Stevens. And John, you know, the puck luck wasn't going the way of the Kings. When that's happening, maybe a different perspective down on the bench. How as coaches do you handle those types of things, the bad bounces?
Well, quite honestly, I think we've been in the game long enough. The harder you work, the more bounces you get. We got one of those bounces against St. Louis the other night, but I like the way we responded, worked our way back in the game, got it tied before the end of the second period. So big 20 minutes for us here.
How much is it coaches that get the guys going or respond like you're saying, or how much is it the guys on the bench doing the talking to get back and focused?
I think it's all of it. Ultimately, you really rely on our leadership, veteran guys to lead the way here, but we're all in it together here. So sometimes it's us, sometimes it's them, and sometimes it's all of us. So it really works well when it's coming from the players and from the coaches.
All right, John, yeah, you got to spread it around every once in a while. It can't always come from the same point of view. And John Stevens behind the bench will be a busy man. Both his sons are in town. I saw them skating after practice yesterday. Both going to college back east. And John Stevens, a little extra work after practice.
His kids,
big kids, too.
Yeah.
Big kids.
Good. Here's Kopitar in front. Gaborik couldn't get to it. It bounced right toward the goaltender and hangs on. Talking about coaches, Dave Tippett, former assistant with the Kings. This is his 900th NHL game coaching today. He's 30th in NHL history to coach 900 games. And since 2002 and 3, he's got 475 wins, the third most in that stretch of any coach in the league. Mike Babcock has 501 with Anaheim and Detroit, and Joel Quenneville 491 with Chicago and with St. Louis and Colorado.
He's got 900 wins, and he has my respect. I'll tell you that. Shane Doan, the captain, says you want your coach to be like Dave Tippett. He has to be hard at times. He can be soft at times. He understands. He can be sensitive. But he also said accountability. If Dave Tippett feels he's made a mistake, he takes account for that and makes sure he feels responsible. Same thing with players. You got to hold them responsible too.
Kings up to center. Carter throws it down in. Kings want to get a line change though, as it's thrown in deep, and the Kings do make the line change. Stoll's line comes out on the ice. Puck is taken by the Coyotes at their own blue line and now driven into the Kings zone. Stoll out there with Brown. Back defensively is Martinez. And the Kings get it back up to center ice. Williams is on the right wing on that line. Brown goes down into the left wing corner. Now Vermette tried to get it. He moved it ahead, and the Coyotes get it out to center ice. Taken away by the Kings. Here is Matt Green. Green moves it up ahead and down deep into the Coyote zone. And an icing call against the Kings.
Well, the LA Kings, your fans out there, be sure to join us on Auto Club Night. That's December 27th. The Kings host the San Jose Sharks. All fans in attendance will receive an LA Kings lanyard presented by the Auto Club of Southern California. Visit lakings.com/promotions to see all of this year's giveaways. A whole bunch going on here at Staples Center.
Kings led in shots through 2 periods by Jeff Carter. He's got 4. As the puck in the King zone, and we got a penalty. Gonna get a penalty here, I think.
Yeah, look at Hansel.
Close his hand on the puck.
Yeah, we get the same signal that was given earlier, except it was stick involved. This time, Hansi doesn't like it. Now the referee's talking with the linesman here. Again, you can't cover. Yes, that's it. Covering the puck. You cannot cover it anymore. It used to be you could put your hand over top of it as long as you didn't close your hand. I guess I brought that up earlier.
Yeah.
Now there's also that issue, Bob, of where, right off the face-off, it can't be your hand the first thing to touch the puck after the sticks come together if you're the centerman. And Hansel doesn't like it. But it's one of those things where they feel if you're covering the puck, you're preventing other guys from playing the puck, and they want to keep it going. He goes to the box.
Kings win the draw. Chance to take the lead on the power play. Here's McBain. Moves it off on the right wing side. In the middle, and now comes a Martinez. Score! Looked like Carter maybe or something tipped it into the net. And the Kings have the lead at 3-2.
We'll see if Hansel, is he going to say anything on the way over? No, he keeps his composure. Dave Tippett does too. So that power play has been on fire since the last game. Slow start today, but then that third power play really turned it on for the Kings. Win a face-off, that's important. Keep it simple again. Remember the options I was talking about? You've got one guy on one side, that's Kopitar, one guy on the other, and it comes across. Maybe the stick at the point of the shot, Bob. We'll see it right here. The defender comes across, and does he get his stick out? Yeah, Carter's taking a wave at it too. And of course, it's right there in the crease. Certainly Dubnyk, the goaltender, Bob, got caught deep in the crease on that one because of the lateral movement. If a goaltender is not aggressive, a lot of times that means he's unsure, and options are a consideration. If the goaltender feels there's more than that first option, he's going to stay back because he has to go lateral. If he can figure out exactly where the shot's going to come from, he can be aggressive. Dubnyk was deep. The shot beats him. Kings lead 3-2.
Well, Martinez gets the goal, the power play goal to put the Kings ahead 3-2. Jamie McBain gets another assist on that. That's his second assist of the game. Puck taken by Williams. He shoots, just knocked away. Williams again, almost tucked it in. Comes back to the right point. A shot there, now behind the net. Kings go for it, can't get it. Coyotes have it. So on the power play, it's Martinez with his 4th of the season, and the assist to Kopitar and McBain.
And even Carter doesn't touch there, Bob. You've got a good look to see how he keeps that goaltender back. I mean, he keeps him there. He limits his space. He just kind of crowds the goaltender, and the goaltender cannot be aggressive to cut down the angle.
So Kopitar and McBain have assisted on the last 2 King goals. 3 assists for Kopitar in this game this afternoon. He had 4 assists the other night when he had a goal and 4 assists for 5 points, a career high in 1 game for Kopitar. Now he's got 3 points here today.
I told Kopi yesterday at practice, Bob, I was disappointed in him because when we were chatting during the game with Patrick O'Neill, I said he should get 6 points. He only got 5. Let me down.
He talked him into giving 1 late, so he's trying to get to it. Puck comes down into the King zone. Doughty got a stick on it to break it up, and now back out to center ice. So the Kings had a 1-0 lead, fell behind 2-1, tied it at 2, and now the Kings lead it 3-2. Took just 10 seconds for the Kings to score in that power play, so as Jim said, that is really coming to life. Now look out, what do we got here at the blue line? We had Doan involved with Muzzin for a moment.
And then you had Vermette behind the play with the referee going down. Wow, a lot of things going on in that one.
Play continue though, no whistle on the play, and the Coyotes bring it back up to center ice. Tipped across the line, and Green with a check there as puck taken by Clifford on the left wing into the Coyote zone. Clifford driving wide. He got checked there into the boards. Puck is still fought for as in comes Dwight King to dig it out, but the Coyotes take it away and back they come to center ice. Coyotes down by a goal, and Yandel threw it in deep. It was tipped away for a moment by Green, who played the puck and the man, and now it's cleared out to center and out of the reach of Richards. Coyotes with it again. They got a little push on here as they come across the line. They're not getting a lot of quality chances, but puck is picked up at center ice by Carter. Dropped it back. Kopitar. Kopitar shoots. Save. Carter tried to tip it in, but Dubnyk had it stopped. Nice movement again coming across the line.
They're world-class players. Look at the goal again. Win that draw, spread out. Look at the fan out there. Look, you have the umbrella, and then the pass through the seam. If this gets through, it's going to kill you, and that's what happens. And you see Gaborik, he's high in the slot, so that draws attention to him. Just opens up enough seam, room to get it through. But again, the world-class players, Bob, the way they execute at top speed. Yeah. I mean, that last play, it looked like a high puck in the air. Then once you get it top speed, and they move it around.
Well, they sure do, and it is fun to see. And puck taken by the Coyotes now. Chipchura moved it into Oliver Ekman-Larsson.
It's going to come up sooner or later, though. Balance is going to be needed, too. So someone else is going to have to get on the board offensively. But at this moment in time, the way the season was going, Daryl Sutter felt it was needed, and certainly so far looks like a real good decision.
There's Kopitar giving it to Carter. Carter to Kopitar. Gaborik heads for the net. Here's McNabb. Shoots. Save. Rebound. Kings hold it in. They get it off on the right side. Taken there, and a shot deflected up high and out of play off the netting. But there again, now it's getting exciting every time they come across that blue line. You're just anticipating what might happen. And for so many games, Jim, as you said, we talked about those players, the big line players, were not contributing because they were unable to score for one reason or another, and now it's coming through.
Yesterday at practice, Bob, with all the accolades that Daryl Sutter was throwing around, and he was talking about Alec Martinez, all those type of things, he said with the big dogs, the big wheels, he said, bottom line, they have to be productive. I mean, that's almost part of their job description. They have that skill, load them up, put them all together. It's something, that's a decision you have to make sometimes.
Kings hold it in. Drive is wide by Brown, and now the puck taken by the Coyotes, and they get it out to center, but Bodker got stopped there at the blue line. Back into the Coyote zone. Moved up by Schlemko, taken away by the Kings with 14:48 left to go in the third. Kings will be here Monday night, and that'll be the last game before Christmas. Puck taken by Brown. His shot just deflected up wide by Dubnyk.
That regroup real good by the Kings. Everyone wanting the puck, being available for the regroup.
And now the blue line of the Coyotes. The puck taken and offside or a hand pass called.
Coming up a little bit later on the Carl's Jr. Sports Update, Mr. Patrick O'Neill. We'll probably be taking a look at the Calgary Flames. Our first look at the Calgary Flames. Yeah. Bob, you mentioned the slump they're in right now, but I guess if there is a surprise, it would be the Calgary Flames. And there's a couple in the NHL this year, some good, some bad as far as the surprises. Bob Hartley just inks a new contract during the midst of the slump. Yeah. So they were doing really well earlier. They go into a deep slump, and then the management says, you know what, we believe in the direction. And Bob Hartley, we've known him for many years. Yeah. Doing a real good job there. He started talking about it last year with the team coming together, and it came together this year.
Well, that game Monday night against the Calgary Flames will be on KCOP Channel 13, starting with Kings Live at 7 o'clock on Monday night. Then the Kings don't play until a week from tonight against San Jose. That's going to be an NBC game, so Jim and I will not be doing that game.
Well, we got some time off. Toyota Vallarta.
Yeah, don't have any money left after Christmas.
Well, with the gift you bought me, I'm sure you have nothing left.
I got a little bit.
Okay.
Puck taken at center ice by Clifford. Clifford for the Kings. Crossed the line, but poke checked away from him, and the Coyotes get it back to center ice. Into the Kings zone. Kicked ahead now by McMillan, but taken away by McBain. Let's talk about McBain, his first game back after missing 9, just a healthy scratch. And he's been doing quite well. Pass over to Clifford from Richard. Clifford checked there. And the Kings get the loose puck to the blue line. McNabb with a drive wide. Rebound. Clifford got to it in a hurry. Now McBain with a shot. That went wide, and he's going to go off the ice. And the Coyotes get it back up to center ice. And the Kings take over with 13 minutes to go in the third period. Quick pass over to Clifford. Clifford to the left point. He drives it wide to the right. Rebound to Carter. So that line comes on again. Now here's Doughty. Doughty shoots it in, knocked down by Dubnyk, the goaltender. Kings have 3 shots this period. They've held the Coyotes to none.
You worry about the goaltending, Bob, in that situation. Jonathan Quick hasn't seen a lot of shots. Hasn't really seen the puck in his zone in a long time. So that focus at a premium right now.
And there's a pass off on the right side, just deflected into the corner. Coyotes with it. Kings zone to the blue line to Schlemko. Now Yandel. His shot blocked by Carter. Carter chases it down. Carter's got it. Cutting in front. He shoots. Just tipped wide as Dubnyk forced him wide to the left. Rebound. Kings have it again. Carter in front. Shoots. Blocked. Picked up now and back up to center. Did I mention that once they come across the blue line, it gets exciting?
It certainly does. Could you believe that bounce off the boards? It looked like it was going to go into the boards and stay there. It bounced right to the stick of Jeff Carter.
Puck taken by the Coyotes, and to the blue line, a shot by McCulloch is wide. Williams has it for the Kings, sweeps it out to center ice. Taken there, and Kings take it away, though, for a moment. Now it is picked up at center ice by Green. Green went down to the ice. Puck taken by the Coyotes. Driving in deep is Reeder. Down the right side, he turns, shoots. That hit a skate and went wide. Hit the skate of Martinez.
There's Ekman Larsson. You got to watch those defensemen. They love to join.
Puck is taken by the Kings. Quick pass by Williams up ahead to center. Kings come across the line. Brown. Brown spinning, protecting the puck. Tried to get a pass. Then he got knocked down. Coyotes go for it, and they've got it. David Moss had a good first period. He sends it up to center, and a long shot is wide by Ekman Larsson and taken now by the Kings back in their own zone. Oh, Kings go the chance. Kings have a 3-2 lead. We're in the third period. Sam Gagner going for it. Now here's Martin Erat. Erat checked by Lewis. Erat still with it. Lewis stays with him. Puck comes in the corner. Erat still has it on his stick. Gave it to Reeder. Or to Gagner. Gagner back to Erat. He got spun around, and McNabb trying to get a stick on it. Still not complete control by the Kings. Now it's chased over by McBain. He drives it off the boards and out to center and back into the Coyote zone. And icing against the Kings.
It's the right call. It's the right call. It doesn't look right, but the linesman has to make the call when the puck gets to the hash marks. He has to make that judgment call who's going to get there first. And keep in mind, what you're looking for here is safety. Okay, right about here, guys, get a stop. You can see right now the Coyotes player is clearly ahead. The linesman's off to the right. He's got to make the call now. The reason he has to make it now, if he doesn't make it then it becomes a dangerous situation. Yeah, Pearson ends up in front, but at the time the call's made, it's the right call and icing against the Kings.
And the draw here goes to the Coyotes. Bodker tried to get it, but it's cleared up to center ice and taken away by the Coyotes again. Here is Bodker, shoots, and it's just deflected wide. Taken by Doughty. Got it to the blue line, but not out. Puck is flipped up in the air. Now the Kings have it, and back they come to center ice. Long shot there by Lewis, and a save by Dubnyk. 18,230, another sellout here this afternoon. 138th consecutive sellout for the Kings, including the playoffs. Right in front of the Kings bench, a battle for it there as Clifford trying to dig it free. It does come free to Doughty, and Doughty gets it up in the air to center ice and in the Coyote zone.
Playoffs? Playoffs?
Back up to center. Got to count all those crowds. They had the most fun.
What about third period last game, Bob? I mean, that, wow, rightly so, but the crowd just went bonkers.
Oh, yeah. Kings started out, if you weren't with us a couple of nights ago against St. Louis, down 3-0, and things did not look good. They got a goal late in the first period, which kind of pushed them ahead now in that second period. But tied it at 3, and 36 seconds later, St. Louis had the lead. And you think, is that going to be a crushing blow? Well, it wasn't. The Kings came right back. Pass in front, broken up. Coyotes staying on the puck, though, and a backhander by Reeder knocked back behind the net. Here's Green in the corner. He played the boards and got it out to center ice. Oliver Ekman Larsson back to get it. Ekman Larsson, 5th year, their #1 pick in 2009 out of Sweden. Taken by Larson. He drives it into the Kings zone. Tipped right back out to center. Coyotes have to touch up to get onside. Kings have it in their own zone. Now up to center. Pass to Carter. Carter, Kopitar on the ice, and the puck is back to the blue line. Brown is still out on the ice right now. Puck is picked up in deep by Hansel. Hansel gets spun around. Here's Erat. His shot up high and off the glass. Comes out on the left side to the blue line. A shot from there. Knocked down. Kings have it. They get it back up to center, and Brown fights his way into the neutral zone. He knocked down Sam Gagne. Brown's pass off on the right side. Now puck comes into the corner of the Coyote zone. And a whistle on the play. We're going to get a penalty here.
Yeah, looks like offensive zone call. I was just thinking about that. Stoll might be involved. Looks like he's going to the box. Coyotes going on the power play. This is not the normal high stick you would see, because Jared Stoll's reaching forward with his left hand right there. You see, it really doesn't get that high, but no question, the shaft of the stick makes contact with the face of Bodker on the back check, and that's the reason for the call. Again, it happens in the offensive zone. I was just thinking, the Kings have done a great job in this period staying on the penalty box, and I thought too fast to get that offensive zone penalty. Now, one of the keys, again, is the penalty kill. The power play's turned its way around the last couple of games. The penalty kill has been an issue for the last little while. Not only the last couple of games, you're going back 6-7 games, penalty kill has been an issue. So you got to test it right here, and the Kings are going to try to test it against the Coyotes.
Coyotes 0 for 2 with 2 shots on the power play in this game today. We're in the third period with the Kings up 3-2. But the Coyotes now with a chance to tie it up, and off the draw, the puck taken by Bodker. Mikael Bodker moves it down in deep, pass across the ice, deflected and taken away by the Kings, and up to center is Kopitar giving it over to Carter. Carter, he gets knocked hard into the boards, gets right back up again though as the puck comes back into the Kings zone and cleared the length of the ice right at Dubnyk, a bouncer. Well, the Kings got one the other night. Try it again today.
Yeah, Dwight King becoming a trend right now with that long bounce shot.
Puck taken by the Coyotes at center ice. Vermette across the line. He got knocked back and down to the ice by Green, but the Coyotes have it back behind the net. Right side, they keep it in. The Kings couldn't get to that loose puck. Bodker up the middle, taken there, and now over to Bodker again. He feeds it back to the left point. Now Oliver Ekman-Larsson. Now up the middle, Yandel. Yandel feeds it left side. Now they've got the power play set up. A shot blocked and cleared.
Well, the band is back together, and Green's out there. Martinez very smart on the last play where he gets himself into a position where he has to be smart. Stay at home. Take away the front of the net. That's exactly what he does. You buy time to get some help, and then, of course, the Kings get the block shot.
Here's Sam Gagne now. Vermette leads the Coyotes in power play goals with 5. Puck driven behind the net. Quick cut it off. Got it back on the right to Doughty, and it is taken by the Kings. Back up to center ice they come. 2-on-2. A shot knocked away off the blocker of Dubnyk. Shot from the right side by Brown. Now Brown going for it again, but it's picked up by the Coyotes. Back they come with 20 seconds to go in the power play. Across the line, left side, Tobias Reeder. Reeder got hip checked there and got off balance a little bit, and then it's cleared by Brown right at Dubnyk, and he makes that stop.
On his off wing, gets the puck first, shields the checker from coming in, spins around, gets it down. No shots by the Coyotes. Jared Stoll back on the ice.
So the Kings kill that and do not give up a shot on goal and still have a 3-2 lead. Doan at center sent it up and deflected out of play. So 5:53 to go in the third. 3-2 Kings.
AT&T U-verse Rewind way back in 2007. There he is. Not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4. 5 goals for Marian Gaborik. Of course, that's back when he was playing for the Minnesota Wild. It was the NHL's first 5-goal game in 11 years. It's happened since 2011. Johan Franzen, Detroit, gets 5. The last 6-goal game, Bob, you have to go way, way, way back to 1976. Darryl Sittler. On that night, he not only had 6 goals, he had 4 assists for 10 points.
So we haven't seen the best of Marian yet. We're still waiting to...
What's this, 1 or 2 or 3 goals? 5.
Puck comes into the King zone, and the Coyotes get it down in deep, back behind the net. Moss pass out the middle, taken away, and the Kings get it to King. Dwight King up to center ice.
Flip it in. Flip.
Go for the bounce shot. Okay, Coach. Puck comes up to center ice, and the Coyotes into the King zone. Vermette just did stay on side. Here is Bodker in deep. Jim, you talked about him being a dancer, and he moves around that ice in a hurry. It comes right toward Quick. He knocks it away, and here's Doughty. Talk about being a dancer. He can dance at times. Over to Williams. Williams in the zone. Coyote zone. Kings up by a goal. Back to the blue line it goes. Shot by Martinez. And off the post. Or crossbar. I thought for a moment it might deflect in.
It almost went down over the line.
Yeah. Puck taken by the Coyotes. Moss in front, driving to the net. Didn't get the pass. Taken away by Kopitar. Kopitar up to center. Or Quick did get a piece of that. Back in deep now. Sent up to center ice by McCulloch, but nobody there. Icing against the Coyotes.
Yeah, back and forth. Back and forth. And the Kings want to keep the pressure on, and of course this line has the feel and the confidence right now, so keep it going. Here's the tip, right to the top. Goalie, crossbar, and bounces. Stays out. Yandel helps out there with a goaltender. Back the other way. There it is. 1, 2, down. And of course the bounce probably gets the right type of bounce in that situation. Dubnyk did a good job just to get a piece of it. He had to get the arm on it. Otherwise, it's 4-2 Kings.
Coyotes with it now with 4.5 to go in the third period. David Moss has had at least 3 great scoring chances. One on a breakaway in the first period, but offside called here as Moss touches the puck. He'll be back with a face-off right after this.
Patrick O'Neill here with the Carl's Jr. Sports Update. Sometimes the most dangerous team for the LA Kings is the team that is struggling, and that is the Calgary Flames. They have lost 7 in a row. This game, reminder, on KCOP starting at 7 p.m. with Kings Live. Dangerous team, though. Mark Giordano, breakout year for him in the NHL, the defenseman with 32 points. Yuri Hudler has 30 points, and Sean Monahan has 21. The Flames were 17-8-2, but this 7 straight losses for Calgary, the longest since 1974-75. They're in Vancouver tonight. Bob and Jim.
Yeah, fun to watch. All those D getting involved.
And off the draw here, the puck comes down into the corner, and the Kings in their own zone get control of it, but can't clear it out. Hansel goes for it, tipped away from him, and still the Coyotes hold it in. They're down by a goal. Here's a battle with Arat going for it, and the puck comes free, taken by Gabrick. He flipped it high in the air to center. Carter going for it, just couldn't get there in time as he got checked, and the puck picked up by the Coyotes. Pass on the right side. Gagne throws it back across, taken away by the Kings, and they get it up to Gabrick at center. Marian Gabrick came across the line, and he got knocked down there and may be shaken up on the play. Play continues. In front, score! It was thrown in front, and Lewis was there, and he got it from Toffoli, and the Kings have a 2-goal lead late in the third at 4-2.
I want to celebrate, Bob, but Gabrick is just finally getting to the bench. He was rocked. He was dazed, and I'm just hoping it's not serious. Gabrick getting over the line, makes the play, and the offside defenseman comes across. That's Ekman Larsson. So Gabrick didn't even know he was there, but it looked like the contact was okay. We're going to mention he was dazed. Let's just hope. And of course, now the Kings get it to the front. The issue was, maybe does Ekman Larsson come up a little bit? Does he explode up into the hit and get to the head level? Of course, that would be danger, but look at the pass. Once again, a backhand pass works to Foley, and right there is Lewis. Maybe a little balance. That balance comes at the right time. 4-2 Kings.
So now the Coyotes chase it down into their own zone, but of concern, as Jim said, is now Marian Gabrick. He did not look good when he turned over, rolled over on the ice there. Lewis gets the goal. Toffoli gets an assist on it. Puck is taken at the blue line and held in by the Coyotes. Picked down right side and shot by Bodker is up high and deflects to the blue line to Yandel. Yandel throws it behind the net. Wrap around by Doan, and it's knocked away. Kings get to it, clear it high in the air out to center. Lewis gets his 5th of the year. The assist to Toffoli and Gabrick. at 16-22.
Poor Trevor Lewis, Bob. He doesn't get a lot of credit for all the little things he does. He scores a goal, and all I'm concerned about is Gaborik. It's unfortunate, but Gaborik really was clocked on the play, and it took him a while to get to the bench. Looks like he's staying there, so.
And a shot is just tipped wide by Quick. Well, I'll tell you, Lewis would be the first one to tell you that's okay. Have concern about Gaborik. Here in deep, shot is just wide. They got it over on the left side of McMillan. I don't know how he didn't put it in. It was taken by the Kings and back up to center.
Back check there of Justin Williams of the Kings, right back to the crease, getting stick on stick. And I think at the time he couldn't get a stick on it, so McMillan tried to kick it. Again, more liberalized rules this year, so you never know if it's going to count or not.
Puck driven back behind the King net, not cut off by Quick. Puck comes into the corner. Martinez with a check on Gagne. Now still a battle. Gagne again turns and shoots it. Deflected wide, but held in by the Coyotes. A minute 48 left to go. Third period. Coyotes clear it themselves out to center. So this afternoon, the Kings, Kopitar, 3 assists. Gaborik, a goal and an assist. McBain, back in the lineup for the first time since the 9th of November, gets 2 assists in the game. Here's Carter. Drives it wide.
And Gaborik was on the ice there, Bob, that last shift. Now he's going over to the bench. So again, that's a good sign for the thing I was concerned about. Dubnyk now leaving the ice, going to the bench. Extra attacker out there for the Coyotes.
Coyote net wide open. Kings try to get it up to center, and they do. They force it out to center, and now it comes deep into the Coyote zone. Coyotes back in to get it. 1 minute to go, third period. Kings Live coming up right after the game. Up to center ice, Yandel moves it off on the left side, and Bodker dropped it back. Now Yandel shoots, and a glove stop, and reaching out to make the glove save was Quick.
Yeah, Jonathan Quick making sure he gets there before any other traffic can get there. And he reaches out, as you mentioned, Bob, to get ahead of everything. They're like kind of quarterback jumping up in the pocket. Coyote game analysis. Martinez, go-ahead goal. Kopitar continues to put the points on the board. 3 more assists in today's game. The hits. In a game where the Kings have controlled the puck, those hits jump out to me because a lot of times you have hits. It's because the other team is, dominating the puck. That has not been the case. And that's where the Kings are on their game. So for the second game in a row, Daryl Sutter feels his team has done a good job because they've been physical. They've been aggressive. That's what the Kings want to do. Just want to remind everyone, please support a member of our local hockey community in need. Marsada Chocolates in Torrance was shut down because of kids playing youth hockey. If you love hockey, you love chocolate, please visit lakings.com/Marsada to see how you can help. The Kings thank you in advance for your support.
Wow, I've heard of mortgages being closed and everything else. I've never heard anybody shut down kids playing hockey. The net is still open to the Coyote end of the ice. Antoine Vermette will take the draw. 45 seconds left to go here in this third period. And off the draw, the back to the blue line. A shot is wide. Now into the corner. Coyotes with the extra attacker, trying to get the goal. It'll bring him to 1. Driven around the boards and out to the blue line and out to center ice. So the Coyotes have to touch up and get on side again. Now they touch it, and the offside is called.
That should go all the way down. It is. It's going to go all the way back down. No, they're just bringing it outside. Normally on a delayed offside, if the team that ends up touching the puck realizes it would have been an offside, they call it deliberate and bring it all the way down. Not the case. Stoll was leveled by Doan on the last play. He was just trying to get to the puck and make sure it was while the delayed offside was going on, and Doan felt he had a free shot, and he took it.
He may have gotten the worst of it. I saw him reaching up to his face to see if he was cut.
I told him, don't do it.
Kings clear it up to center ice. Taken by the Coyotes. Antoine Vermette now driven into the Kings zone. 15 seconds to go. Kings have a 2-goal lead. Back behind the net. Kings trying to win their 17th of the year. Puck taken by the Kings. Back up to center ice. Pass off on the right to Williams. He's got an empty net. Couldn't get to it, but this game is over. And the Kings... There's a shot by Doan right at the buzzer. He knew the buzzer was
Quick was the first guy to take a step forward.
Yeah.
He was the first guy. I think everyone kind of understood what was going on. And I mentioned Doan took a shot at Stoll, kind of a free one on a delayed offside. Here he tries to get something, and this is just part of the interesting dynamic of the rivalry between these teams. Now, this was not real late, but under the circumstance, sometimes the circumstance, late game, you're down by 2, those types of things. As I mentioned, Jonathan Quick was the first guy to jump out and be upset with the situation. Again, he's closer to it. He can hear those types of things. And Doan, I'm sure he had something on his mind. Here's the delayed offside issue going on, and there's Stoll going down because of Doan. And there it is. Oh, there was the skate became an issue. That was close. And then with the long shot at the buzzer, or we'll say after the buzzer by Shane Doan. But the reason Bob Doan was reaching to his face there when he went down along with Stoll, Stoll's skate came up and came close. Never want to see that. Land Rover, player of the game. Jamie McBain is hidden in there in the dark Staples Center, but he did a heck of a job coming back. Missing 9, jumps in, 2 assists, and the Kings win 4-2.
Kings win their second in a row, and Kings Live is coming up next. For Jim Fox, this is Bob Miller. Thanks for being with us. We'll see you Monday night. Now for the 3 stars, here's Dave Joseph.
The Staples second star from your Kings with 2 assists, number 5, Jamie McBain. And the Staples first star from your Kings with 3 assists, number 11, Ajay Kopitar. Fans, please turn your attention to the Kings bench as Ajay Kopitar joins Fox Sports West's Alex Curry. Alex.
Ajay, another comeback win for the Kings. You guys controlled this game from start to finish. You talked on Thursday about turning things around. Would you say this team is back to playing Kings hockey?
Yeah, I think so. I think one way is coming from behind, but we don't want to do that. But that's just the way it goes sometimes. And again, it's the character that drives us in playing for each other, and we did it again.
And speaking of playing for each other, it seems like every time your line is on the ice, you guys are creating chances. Talk about the chemistry you have going on with Jeff Carter and Marian Gaborik.
Yeah, we're feeling good right now, and I think the big thing is just making plays up the ice and setting those plays in the offensive zone. And once we're in there, just try to create as much as we can.
Well, congratulations on a great win.
Thank you.
Patrick, back out to you.